Cisco's a big company that does community practice. They have hundreds of community practice around product development. So they set it up so their engineers, their designers can all collaborate as the project is developed and be able to learn from that. They can do lessons learned as well. So again, simple tools that are actually embedded within current technology. This isn't 2 or 3 years out. This is today. And then also this particular tool has a wiki page. And there's a number of LMSs that do this type of thing, like Bazinga's one, Xerxes is another, that allow you to collaborate. This is more of a traditional LMS. Some of these other organizations are more focused around social learning and informal learning. Okay. Just kind of going to walk through one case study of Sun Systems and what they've built in their Sun Learning Exchange. Basically, they had a real strong need to reduce overall cost of training. They went out to their sales staff and said, how do you like to learn? They said, we want just-in-time learning. They've got a great peer-to-peer network. However, I can't take that peer-to-peer when I go out in the field, so I want that delivered directly to me somehow, and I can access it. There was insufficient training hours for that year, and they wanted tools at their fingertips. So Sun Learning Service, so this is the learning group that developed the Sun Learning Exchange, which really became more of very much a YouTube video program. It was collaborative, multimedia portal. People would tag and share and collaborate, access to information. From a metric standpoint, I find this just amazing in terms of adoption. And kind of thinking back to the sad story Tony told, but after he uploaded that the video, the person immediately found it and emailed him back. After 1 week, there were 3,338 unique users to this story. And when you look at, do we roll this out and just let people come to it? That's one method. Or do we actually build it around any specific program or a specific tool? Like you might roll out the collaboration tools we were looking at. You can just focus on that collaboration tool, get people to use it, train people, teach people about it, socialize it, and it'll grow that way. Or you can build it around a specific program that you might have, a leadership program, and that's another way to help build these informal learning tools. In this particular case, they knew it was launching because the sales group wanted it, but there were 51 countries, people in 51 countries in 1 week that participated in this. I just find that amazing that many employees from around the globe would participate and look at it. There were actually 315 pieces of video that were uploaded into the system within a week. And 19,000 people actually went in and looked at it. And then actually even less than, I think it was closer to 3 weeks, 82 countries and 6,700 people had looked at it, 42,000 page views, and it averaged 100 pieces of new content uploaded daily. Now, how do you control that in a financial world, right? I can hear you thinking that. And again, we'll look at how they do that. But this is kind of their old world. It was very rigid, very push-oriented training. They wanted to move this new world model where it was pull, the learner was accessing the information they needed from a viable source of information. So that kind of was the learning architectural design that was behind this. And then for new salespeople coming in, they've set up this Join the Network. I just think this is a great onboarding tool. How do I go in? How do I start and get started as an employee? How do I participate? How do I learn, which is the traditional learning, the e-learning piece?
Actually, I'm from Sun, and this is in my organization. This is not just for sales.
Oh, it's not sales.
It's for actually
it's for everybody. Yeah.
Everybody.
It's a great tool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's excellent.
It's very welcoming. That's when I look at this, I feel very welcomed as an employee. And so you're able to access your LMS for whatever's available to that new employee, right? But I'm also able to collaborate various tools. And then we talked about games earlier on. You've got a game that's actually set up, which is kind of interactive game for people to participate and learn about the organization. So that's just showing how these pieces are all coming together within a very, very nicely done collaborative, formal and informal learning tool. We don't need to go through all this. We kind of looked at it with the other example, but basically there's user-rated pages. You can see how this particular person is viewed 77 times, I believe it is, and a 5-star rating and various ratings. And over time, you're going to be able to, that's the metric that's telling you, this is good information, it's quality information, because it's been accessed by a certain amount of people over and over time with high ratings. And this is actually an example that Sun has of a collaborative virtual world. And you know, the question is the cost involved in that, and I'm sure you'll talk about that a little bit later. But it's kind of, this really did piece together kind of the entire spectrum of informal learning. It's a great case study to look at and get some feedback. And it's wonderful that you're here too, and maybe you can share some information as you network and talk to people about what you've done. But this is an all within one launch and rollout from the Learning Services Group. And lastly, the sales group wanted that information, that peer-to-peer learning, at their fingertips. So it was based on rolling out on an iPod base. It could have been wireless or BlackBerry as well. So individuals are able to log in, get online streaming content from an application where they can save it and do offline viewing. So that those groups, sales in that particular case, could go out, have the information they needed while they're on that sales call or on the way to the sales call, utilizing mobile learning, tying all back into the overall system. I love this piece. It's not all content is serious, and I really like that approach about it, is that there is humor, and there is you know, the fun side of work too, and I think the Sun Group wanted to be part of that, wanted to share that information, have that, build that network, especially since people are remote and around 100 countries I think you're actually working in, right? But I thought this was unique too, because it goes to the point of, well, how do we manage this and track it? So there's this user-generated content matrix that they've set up. So it has your roles down the left side, so it's the informal user right down to the systems person, and then all the rights they have. And that's a very simple little matrix, but it does the job. And it lets people know what they can do in the tools, what tools they can use, how it's getting tracked, how it's getting published. I'm sure there's some protocol and policies that go along with that as well. That's one example that kind of ties together everything we've talked about today, and actually brings a lot of what Tony was talking about earlier, between virtual classrooms or virtual worlds, collaboration tools, the ability to access through your learning management system, be able to chat and access information from your mobile device very quickly. Okay. Just some quick things about getting started in your own company. We talked a lot about learning culture. It's very important what your culture is ready for, the adoption rates to expect to have. Really understand that population. Modeling. How many of your learning organizations are actually doing informal learning right now within your own groups, right? You can go out and say, we have a best practice that we're sharing. That's very important too. Certainly it's a big change piece. We looked at different ways that Sun was measuring. And lastly, learn from others. It's new territory, it's new ground that you're breaking in this area, but hopefully some of these examples will show you that these are learning organizations that are doing this type of thing now, and in partnering with groups like the ILA and other vendors, you're able to help drive that market and get the tools that you need. Okay, any other questions? Or?
Okay, what we have coming up next, thank you very, very much.